now give the floor to the representative of Armenia. You have the floor.
Madam Chair, I would like to congratulate you and the members of the Bureau on assuming the leadership of the second committee and to assure you of my delegation's full support throughout the session. The COVID-19 pandemic has wiped out years of global progress towards the implementation of the 2030 Agenda, which is even more exacerbated by the triple food, energy and finance crisis. The ongoing global crisis has disproportionately affected the most vulnerable, in particular, people in conflict settings and humanitarian crises and the countries in special situations, in particular the landlocked developing countries as well as the middle-income countries. The 2030 Agenda remains a guiding framework for overcoming the consequences of the ongoing global crisis and building back better. The UN system plays a crucial role in coordinating the response of the international community to the socio-economic and humanitarian consequences of the crisis, with a special focus on countries and people in vulnerable situations. Armenia supports the transformative measures outlined in the Secretary General's report on our common agenda to accelerate the full implementation of the SDGs and prepare for post-2030 actions. Madam Chair, as a landlocked middle-income country with mountainous terrain and fragile ecosystems, Armenia faces complex development challenges which require a people-centered and human rights-based approach to unlock the economic potential of the society. The ambitious reform agenda of the government is focused on ensuring an enabling environment for the human capital development and realization of social and economic rights. It entails promotion of inclusive and quality education, universal, affordable, accessible and quality health system, and a resilient social protection service with a focus on the most vulnerable segments of society. Among the priority areas are the socio-economic programs focusing on innovation, green technologies, economic empowerment of women, good governance and anti-corruption. Armenia attaches importance to the efficient cooperation between the landlocked and transit countries, unblocking of all regional transport communications, and promoting connectivity in line with the norms of the international law. We support development of criteria of access to concessional finance, which will take into account specific vulnerabilities of the middle-income countries to prevent the setbacks in achieving the Sustainable Development Goals. The UN Sustainable Development Cooperation Framework for Armenia, adopted for 2021-2025, is closely aligned with the national priorities, reflecting post-pandemic and post-war realities, with the focus on women and girls, persons with disabilities, war veterans, displaced populations, and people living in border areas. We commend the cooperation and support of the UNDP, UNFPA, UNICEF, WHO, and other development partners to the socio-economic programs of the government aimed at mitigating the impact of the global crisis. The civil society, women organizations, youth, private sector, and local communities are important partners in fostering inclusive and green economic development, environmental sustainability, and gender equality. Madam Chair, apart from structural vulnerabilities related to the geographic location and climate, the decades-long policy of use of force and economic coercion pursued by Azerbaijan further aggravates the consequences of the global crisis. The large-scale aggression of Azerbaijan against Nagorno-Karabakh in September-November 2020, unleashed amidst the global pandemic, caused thousands of casualties, mass displacement, destruction and violence. In the aftermath of the war, Azerbaijan resorted to continuous military attacks against Armenia in the directions of Gegharkunik, Syunik, Vayotdzor and Ararat provinces. On 13 September 2022, Azerbaijan launched yet another premeditated aggression targeting the eastern and southeastern regions of my country, causing more than 200 deaths, including among the civilian population. The massive shelling of the residential areas and critical civilian infrastructure caused complete or partial destruction of more than 200 civilian buildings, among them schools and hospitals, as well as damaging of electricity lines, water and gas pipelines. Around 8,000 civilians, mostly women, children and elderly people, fled their homes. The targeted fire of the resort town of Jermuk and tourist infrastructure, which caused heavy material damage, is nothing short of a war crime. Equally disturbing were the strikes against the Kechut water reservoir and the surrounding forest areas, with potentially catastrophic human toll and environmental impact. The invading forces have taken control of water resources, pastures, and other agricultural lands, depriving the population of their essential means of subsistence. The amassing of the Azerbaijani armed units in the close vicinity of the Armenian cities and villages poses an imminent threat to the peaceful population and grossly violates their fundamental human rights, including the right to life, health, education, right to freedom of movement, social and economic rights. The ultimate goal of these acts of aggression is to hinder the sustainable development of Armenia and prompt forceful displacement of population of the border regions. In light of the complex challenges caused by these military actions of Azerbaijan, we would like to underscore the importance of support of the UN development system and other development partners to the population affected by the hostilities, with a special focus on the most vulnerable, including women, children, elderly, and people with disabilities. Madam Chair, we are hopeful that the deliberation within the committee will be useful in identifying the challenges to the sustainable development and further advancing effective multilateral cooperation for achieving the SDGs. I thank you.